Thank you for joining the live today. We're going to be talking about Wegovy, Zepbound, Mounjaro, Ozempic, the semaglutide and tirzepatide, their effect on muscle loss. So these are so popular nowadays. Many people knows them as a weight loss medication. Uh, and we are also, our office is prescribing a lot too. But today's topic is not simply about weight loss, but what may happen to your muscle while you lose weight with these medications. So when they ran the study with semaglutide and tirzepatide, they proved their effect on weight loss, which is great. Semaglutide leads to about 15% weight loss, and tirzepatide, which is Zepbound and Mounjaro, leads to about 20% weight loss. At the same time, in the study, they also analyzed what people actually lost, whether they lost muscle or fat, and it turned out to be about 20% of the weight loss happened with the semaglutide treatment, Wegovy and Ozempic, turned out to be muscle, and 10 to 25% of weight loss happened with tirzepatide, Zepbound, turned out to be muscle as well. And there's been other like additional study, meta-analysis, which means they review multiple similar studies and combine the data together to come up with a larger sized study. And they showed up to 30% of total weight loss turned out to be muscle loss, which is significant amount. One common misunderstanding here is when I explain about the potential muscle loss, when people lose weight with semaglutide and tirzepatide, people ask me, "Wow, like why are those medications causing such a lot of muscle loss?" But this is not semaglutide. I mean, I would just call it Wegovy and Zepbound. These are not Wegovy or Zepbound specific side effects. When you dig into what happens with other type of weight loss, like GLP-1 receptor agonist, but not only that, calorie restriction, bariatric surgery, they also show similar amount of muscle loss. So when you lose weight with reduced, you may very easily lose large amount of muscle loss. You should be mindful of that. And today we are going to be talking about how to prevent that, what we can do and what we do in our clinic. Three things. Number one is, of course, exercise, but we will talk more about like common misunderstanding and mistake people make. Protein intake, and we need some ways to monitor the outcome, whether really what we applied to prevent the muscle loss is working or not. Resistance exercise, yeah, common sense, and we don't recommend some personal trainer or really high advanced form of exercise. Any common sense exercise like a squat or push up, pull up, they're more than good enough. However, here's a common mistake when we explain about how much muscle somebody lost in the office based on the muscle measurement. Many people reply back to me and saying, wonder why they lost so much weight while they're doing exercise, some exercise like walking or running. They tell me about cardio, but here what we need is weight training and resistance exercise. Very common misunderstanding. People tell me, I'm running like 30 minutes every day. I walk like 2-3 miles a day every day. How come I lose so much muscle? Yeah, because they don't count. Not that I'm saying they are not like a beneficial. Of course, you're doing great job by doing aerobic exercise and cardio. You are protecting your heart and lowering the cardiovascular risk. But when it comes to the muscle loss, muscle mass, they don't help that much. So you need resistance exercise. And the beauty of resistance exercise is you can't really say you're busy, so you couldn't do that. Cardio takes time, but resistance exercise doesn't take that much time. You just need about 10 minutes a day. That's all you need. So there's no really like excuse to say I couldn't do the resistance exercise or weight training. You don't necessarily have to go to the gym. Just you can just do squat or push up, pull ups, anything you can do from home. And second, protein intake. Of course, everybody will understand. Yeah, we need a protein to preserve the muscle. That's a common sense. But here, the question is how much protein we need. So the amount of protein we need is 0.5 to 0.7 gram of per pound. So for someone in 200 pounds, we recommend easily about 100 pound, 100 gram or 140 gram. Many of you probably don't understand exactly how much protein that is. So uh, we first start with educating people understand the scale of the protein. That's the first step. When you see some food, you know this is high protein food, like chicken breast, or it could be yogurt, or it could be some cheese. You, if you have some very rough scale in your mind, that helps you to understand how much you're eating. That's the first step. Using some app is good idea. However, I always question our patients when they do something so great. I ask, can you do that for the rest of your life? And when the answer is no, then I tell them, don't do that then. We have to work on things that's gonna follow you, or something sustainable, maintainable, something you can do for the rest of your life. That's why we tell people to try to memorize the amount of protein in like some high protein sources, like chicken breast, or some fish or pork, bean, things like. If you memorize only about like a 15 of them, that's going to help you a lot. And once you memorize, even if you want to forget it later, you can't. For example, I offer this story with our patient. I still want to forget how many grams of carb is in matcha latte frappuccino in Starbucks. I really want to forget it, but I can't. The last matcha latte frappuccino I enjoyed was the one before I checked the ingredient. I was on my way to the Starbucks. I was waiting in the traffic light. I was looking at the Starbucks and I was just waiting. So I just looked up. I made order online in the Starbucks app, and there was an ingredient button. So I just opened it. Once you see the ingredient of the so sweet Starbucks drink, uh, I mean I couldn't dare to drink it again. So I like it, but whenever I am heading to the Starbucks, that ingredient still makes me think twice again, and eventually we don't go there. So this knowledge follows you forever. Whenever you see a food, you're gonna remind yourself again. Like you see a fish, okay, like how many grams that is. Bean, yeah, yogurt. So it's gonna follow you for the rest of your life, and you don't have to invest like extra energy or time on it. So we have to invest on things like that. We have to invest on things that last and continue and follow you, not the things the information you entered in your app one day. It's going to show you beautiful, nice looking, very detailed information about your nutrition on that day. But this, like, I think this like information overload, and we don't need that amount, that quality of information. We just need to know roughly how much protein is going into me. So I recommend people. We in our office, I have the list, the table, and I share it with others. And I oftentimes quiz them. So I ask, like, how many grams do you think is in this food, that food? So people tell me their estimate, and I can tell whether they're overestimating or underestimating their protein intake as well. So I ask, we have our protein goal, and when I ask people, are you getting enough protein? Then they say, yeah, I'm getting about 120 gram of protein. So I quiz them. Okay, so where do you get the protein? They list chicken breast and egg and yogurt. So I ask them if they are overestimating the amount of protein in each food, then that means they're overall overestimating the amount of protein they eat a day. So I remind them. So we correct that misunderstanding, the gap in actual amount of protein they eat and the amount of protein they estimate. So that's number one. And let's talk a little bit more about the protein. The protein, 100 gram a day, if any of you ever tried it, you will find it very hard to eat in a day. 100 gram a day, every single day is very hard. It's very hard. So many people misunderstand, believes this is large amount of protein, but that's not true. 100 gram of protein a day for like 200-pound person, so a person who weighs 200 pounds. This is based on our experience. We measure like an in-body for like 800 people or more people every month, and 100 gram of protein a day hardly like achieves the same body fat percentage. So when someone's losing weight and then they're eating 100 gram of protein a day, we don't see that much improvement in their PBF, percent body fat, which means they're almost losing same percentage of fat and same percentage of muscle. So they lose weight, they're getting slimmer, but when we see percent body fat, which is another important obesity parameter, that doesn't get better. So 100 grams should be, for someone who is 200 pounds, 100 grams, I remind people, 100 grams should be like really lower limit of their target range. And many patients tell me, oh, I'm close to our goal. I'm like 80 gram or 90 gram, and they believe I'm 80% and 90% of our goal. And I constantly, repeatedly remind them, no, 100 grams should be lower limit of our goal range, and you must aim for like a 140 or 150 gram a day. So again, we all probably agree that we need the protein to preserve our muscle while being on GLP-1 receptor agonist. But here, what I'm emphasizing is the amount of protein we need to preserve the muscle and not only lose weight, but also improve the body balance, body fat percentage is much higher than what most people believe, and it's very hard to achieve. And this is another reason why we always assign a dietitian from the beginning of our journey. So that's the protein. And lastly, we need some way to monitor the muscle, whether what we are doing is working or not. There are people, everyone's different. So I all based on the statistics and our experience, but things are really different. For me, I drink protein shake maybe twice or 3 times a day, but do I look like a muscular guy? I never gain muscle. So there are people like me, and there are others, even in their 70s, still a little bit of protein in their diet, additional protein in their diet leads to great muscle gain. So everyone's different. So we must monitor the muscle mass with some tool. And there are 2 main, most popular ways. One is DEXA scan, and the other one is bioelectrical impedance analysis tool. Let's compare these 2 briefly. The gold standard, most accurate test we can do, we can use to measure your muscle mass will be DEXA scan. DEXA scan is a form of X-ray. It's an X-ray. So of course, there's radiation exposure, number 1. And of course, you're not gonna have some radiation, some machine that expose you to radiation in anywhere, right? So you have to have right institute and ways to prevent the radiation exposure. So of course, the cost will go up, and there must be some radiation technician who monitor the whole process So you will have to always schedule some appointment with somebody. Again, another reason the cost goes up. So that's the advantage and disadvantage of DEXA scan. Very accurate, gold standard, but radiation exposure and cost is high, and you have to schedule the appointment. So because of these limitations, what we choose is the in-body bioelectrical impedance analysis tool. We have to monitor it so often, so maybe one-time radiation exposure isn't going to be that much, but if you are going to be doing that every 4 weeks, it could be a lot of burden. So we prefer bioelectrical impedance analysis tool. And I'm going to explain you more about the tool we use at the end of our live today. But before we talk about the in-body, let me share a study that shows like how much protein we need, how the amount of protein affect our muscle. They say effect of an energy restricted, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, let me just summarize the title. These study questions, what happens if you replace some of the calories from carbohydrate with additional protein? So let's say the overall calorie remains same, but you replace carbohydrate, reduce the carbohydrate and add more protein that's going to compensate the calorie loss with that. And here they separated the group into two. The first group is high protein group, and the other one is a standard protein group. And the standard protein group, their daily protein intake was 50 to 80 grams. And this is about 20 to 18% of their daily calories. So you are getting, they are getting 20 to about 15% of their daily calorie from the protein. And their carbohydrate was a little bit more than half of their calorie came from the carbohydrate. And high protein group, on the other hand, do they have a pen here? Like anything that shines? Let me 1 second, please. Oh, no. That's the next slide. And I'm searching for like some pointer, or, oh, there you go. Is this? Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Let me see. And laser, there's no laser. Okay. Oh, this is good enough. Wow, nice. So the high protein group, on the other hand, you can see they almost like doubled. Okay. They almost doubled their protein amount, 100 gram to 145 gram a day. And this is about 25 to 35 about their daily calorie, and carbohydrate, of course, it went down to 40 to 45%. So let's see what happens to them. And they measured 3 things. Number one is their body weight. So in high protein group, we saw 1.7 pounds of more, 1.7 pound weight loss. I don't recall the study duration. It wasn't that long. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot the total duration, but it wasn't that long though. So they lost more than, 1.7 pound, like a body weight loss. But the point is here, the muscle, like the gap in the difference in fat loss between these two groups were more prominent than the weight loss. So the high protein group lost 1.9 pound more fat compared to regular standard. And of course, they preserve 0.9 pound more muscle compared to regular standard group. And what's interesting is many people just stay around here, like 80, and they say I'm eating about 80 to 90 grams of protein. And we always encourage people to help them get into this group, 100 to 140. This is why I tell people 100 should be the lower limit, and always try to get higher, like a 120 or 130. And lastly, let me briefly mention about the in-body machine, in-body measurement we do in our office. I don't think, yeah, this one is better. So in-body machine, this is the in-body analysis. In-body is a bioelectrical impedance analysis tool. So technically, they use the electrical impulse, and we all have like a muscle. They have different like a resistance, and by applying different impulse, they can mathematically they can very easily calculate the amount of fat and muscle, and it tells us the quality of picture support. Let me just find other some other better picture in body. I know I'm searching for in body website here. Let me remove it and let me remove it and share the screen. Share screen. There you go. And I know they offer product resource. And what is body composition? In body test result sheet. Okay, there you go. Okay, this is much better. So offers many numbers, but I will just explain briefly most important numbers. You can see, oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't sharing the screen. So, all right, there you go. And you can see number one, they measure your muscle mass, and they measure your body fat mass, and compare that with others in the similar population, like comparable population with your age and gender, and tells you where you are located. This guy, for example, this is not a patient information, by the way. This is just the sample in-body analysis in the in-body website, and this guy has a very good amount of muscle and body fat mass minimum amount. Body fat percentage, is it male or female? This is a male. Body fat percentage is only 6.1%. This guy is a bodybuilder. Bodybuilders in the season, their body fat percentage is around like a 3%. So this is a bodybuilder. I've seen only two people with this percentage. So this is very good. And they use the skeletal muscle mass and body fat mass weight to calculate a number called percent body fat. And the normal range is between below 20%. When the body fat percentage is greater than 20%, even if somebody is in the normal weight, we oftentimes see signs of like a metabolic syndrome, like a pre-diabetes or high cholesterol, things like that happen. So this is the in-body. And let me change the screen. I'm changing the screen share now. Where is it? Oh, there you go. Share. All right, so that is in-body. So in-body tells us our body composition, and in our office, we use it every 4 weeks to understand your body balance. And okay, and I encourage our patients to use it as often as possible. So completely free. We are not charging anything. We are not selling anything. We are not sending any claim to the insurance. This is free, and we open it to the public as well. And I highly encourage our patients to bring their friends and families. A patient of mine one day brought so many colleagues, and I mean, I didn't mind, and actually I liked it, but I was just curious why he was bringing so many people. Is he trying to help my business or what? So I asked him one day, and his answer was very, very impressive. It really impressed me. When he go to work now, So some of his colleagues measured in body yesterday, and the others measured it today, and I mean this week. Then some others are gonna measure it next week. So at lunch or break time, even at work, they talk about in body all the time, and of course they are talking about their general health. So he was building an environment that people pay more attention to their body balance and health. So that itself, it became a kind of a like support group for him. It was impressive. So I encouraged him to do that more and open our in-body machine to the public, and I purchased more in-body machine. Now our office has 3 in-body machines, so we purchase more in-body machine, and anybody can come in. So you don't have to be our patient. We don't have to necessarily You don't necessarily have to establish care with us. You can always come to our office anytime and measure the in-body to better understand your body composition. So keep in mind. Here's our address. 61 Lincoln Street, 301. So today we talked about, from the beginning, we talked about semaglutide, tirzepatide, these like Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound, how they affect your muscle and weight loss happen, and talked about how to prevent that, mainly about resistance training and protein, how much protein we need and how we monitor. Common misunderstanding and mistake I see in the clinic, and compared the gold standard muscle measurement tool and then the measuring more realistic measuring tool, bioelectrical impedance analysis. We compared them, and we reviewed a study that showed how much protein is needed and how replacing this certain amount of carbohydrate with same calorie protein change our body and affect our weight loss efficiency. And lastly, we explained you how we use the in-body and what those the test result mean, and how you can use our clinic to get the in-body done. So this is the end of the today's presentation, but I'm gonna repeat it one more time. So if doing this in the middle and you wanna listen to this, you wanna see the part you missed, so you can stay on the line. So let me start it again. Tomorrow I have a meeting. It's not a meeting. I'm meeting some group. Where was it? Let me see. I forgot. Let me share dental. There you go. If any of you live close, you can come too. Let me see live. I will share the screen. Stop the screen and share the screen. This is it. And share. So tomorrow, what time is it? 6 to 7, Dental Aesthetic Implant Center in Wayland. I'm giving a presentation here. I heard that they have regular meeting, like some event, and introducing their service and invite just people there. And I'm going to be presenting what I'm doing now. But we are going to have also, here my face is here. We are going to have some Q&A time too. So if any of you want to see me in person, you can join tomorrow. And let me restart the presentation. Stop the screen, share the screen. There you go. So we're going to be talking about the Wegovy, Zepbound, Mounjaro, Ozempic, We all know they're well-known, popular, very effective weight loss medication, but also today's topic is about what happens when you lose weight with them, what happens in your muscle. And let me start with how much muscle we lose with them. So when they ran study with semaglutide or tirzepatide to prove their effect on weight loss, they also measured how much muscle loss happened. And the studies showed among the weight loss happened, about 20% with the semaglutide, which is Wegovy Ozempic, 20% of weight loss turned out to be muscle. Tirzepatide, Zepbound, Mounjaro, 10 to 25% turned out to be muscle. And for if someone lose, let's say 30, 40 pounds, you easily see people out there saying, hey, I lost 40 pounds with the Zepbound. You can say, let's say 40 pounds, so 40 pounds, you can say about 8 to 10 pounds of it turned out to be muscle. If you are not sure like how large that is, how large muscle, how much muscle is that, you can go to the meat corner in the like a market and see 10 pounds of beef. Yeah, that's the amount of muscle people easily lost. In the real, like a clinic, in the real practice, 20, 25%, I mean, you can lose the way more than that. This is statistic and average, which means we always have people who lose more than this. So I'm not surprised anymore when someone lose maybe 20 pounds and we measure the muscle mass and 10 pounds turns out to be pure muscle. I'm not surprised anymore. That's very common. So typical range here, it says meta-analysis. Meta-analysis is something like someone combine all like similar studies and combine the data in all different studies to make it more larger sized study and analyze it, meta-analysis. And in the meta-analysis, about 30 up to 30% of total body weight loss turned out to be the muscle loss too. So you can think of about 20 to 40% of the weight loss happens within the muscle. I mean, 20 to 40 pounds of weight loss is actually muscle loss. And one misunderstanding is people believe this is Zepbound specific or Wegovy specific, some side effect, medicine melt down the muscle, but that's not true. Same thing happens with calorie restriction weight loss and bariatric surgery weight loss as well. So when someone somehow reduce the calories, they reduce the portion size and they lose weight, and a certain amount of like a 20, 40, 25, 30 and 25, 30% of like muscle loss is expected. And today's topic is how to prevent that and what we do to prevent that. So mainly we do three things. We monitor the exercise, we monitor the protein, and monitor the muscle mass. But I want to share. It sounds like a common sense, and like some of you may may say, I mean, who doesn't know that? But let me share some common misunderstanding I face in the clinic. Resistance training. I said resistance training here. So when I show our patients how much muscle they lost, many people tell me, I was surprised too, many people tell me about their cardio, like walking, how much they walk and how much they run. But we are talking about resistance exercise. Walking and running is very important, very, very good exercise. And of course, you're doing good job to prevent cardiovascular disease. And not that I'm saying they're not helping you, but when we talk about muscle, we have to talk about resistance exercise and weight training. Walking or running doesn't help. We have to do resistance exercise. And you don't necessarily have to find some like a professional PT, personal trainer. No, uh, most of the patients who just exercise at home with regular like a common what push up, pull up, or squat, yeah, they are more than enough to maintain their muscle. So you don't necessarily have to go to the gym all the time. And this is very important because as a provider who monitor and who help people to lose weight in a healthy way, I have to always eliminate the excuse people can come up with. Cardio and aerobic exercise takes much longer time. You have to secure the time. But sorry, I was reading at the comment. But weight training or resistance exercise, maybe you don't need more than like a 15-minute a day. So it's really hard to come up with an excuse why you can't do the weight training. And second, the protein intake. Of course, it's a common sense again. We need a protein to preserve the muscle and build the muscle. But here's a common misunderstanding, very important common misunderstanding. How much protein we need. And here I answered with a number. Let's say somebody is 200 pounds, and then they need about 100 gram or 130 gram of protein. So if you ever tried it, I mean, unless you are really like somebody, you are really into weight training and building muscle, regular people like me, when you try 100 gram of protein a day, you are going to be very, very surprised. It's very hard to hit 100 gram of protein every single day. And that makes people misunderstand maybe 100 gram of protein is a lot of protein. That's not true. 100 gram of protein is hard to eat, but what actually happened with that amount of protein for someone who is like a 200 pound, they almost lose similar percentage of muscle and similar percent and fat. So they lose weight because they're on Wegovy and Zepbound and they're on 100 gram of protein and they believe I'm eating a lot of protein, but their body fat percentage oftentimes just remains same because they're not losing any more fat compared to the amount of muscle they lost. So 100 gram is minimum. And we often recommend more than that. And I'm emphasizing on 100 because 100 sounds like, oh, like a perfect number. And people often tell me, oh, I ate 80 to 90 gram of protein. So I'm close to the goal. I'm like at 80 or 90% of our goal. No, 100 is something that you should be lower than that. You always have to eat more than that. And if you can eat more, then try to reach 120, 30, or even 140. When you reach 140, I often see people building the muscle as well. So if you say my goal isn't just losing more fat than muscle, my goal is really almost completely preserving my muscle. Yeah, 140 or higher is needed. So common misunderstanding in protein intake is the amount. And lastly, we have to see how our body responds to that. Everybody, we're all different. There are people who preserve muscle with maybe like a limited amount of protein, but there are people with larger amount of protein, they still lose a lot of muscle. I'm one of the people who I drink protein maybe twice or three times a day, but I never build any muscle. So everybody's different. So we need a tool. We need some tool to monitor how our body is changing. And depending on that, we have to adjust the amount of protein and exercise as well. And there are two most popular way to measure the muscle mass. And DEXA is gold standard, most accurate muscle mass measurement. However, DEXA scan has some limitation. Number one, DEXA is like an X-ray, so it's a radiation exposure. Number one, if this is just one time, maybe not a big deal. but we have to monitor it regularly, maybe every 4 weeks. So radiation exposure every month is a lot of burden. And second, of course, it's more expensive. It's a X-ray, and there's always like a technician who must be there. So you use the machine in the right way, and that leads to higher cost. And of course, you have to schedule the appointment with them as well. So for this reason, we oftentimes choose the bioelectrical impedance analysis, and that's what we do in our clinic. I'm going to explain you what this is at the end of today's presentation. But before we do that, let me introduce some like an interesting study about how our body change depending on how much protein and carbohydrate we eat. The title of the study is complicated, but long story short, they are questioning what happens if you replace certain amount of calorie that comes from the carbohydrate to protein. So you are eating same amount of calorie, but the like a percentage of calorie coming from the protein and carbohydrate changes. And let's see what happens in our body. They divided people into two groups. One is a standard protein group. So this group eat about 50 to 80 grams of protein a day. And that's about 20 to 80, about around 15% of daily calorie. The other group, high protein group, eat 100 to 145. This is the amount of protein I just recommended in earlier slides. And this is about 30% of their daily calorie intake. Of course, carbohydrate percentage goes down because, as I said, total calorie and fat stays same. What happens is, number one, we see more weight loss in high protein group, even though the total amount of calorie remains same. Still, we lose more weight. But not only that, the gap in body fat loss was more prominent than compared to the total body weight. So the high protein group lost more fat, 1.9 pound fat, compared to the regular standard diet group, and they preserved a 0.9 pound more muscle compared to the other regular group. So this study tells us like of how the amount of protein and carbohydrate affect our body composition when we lose weight. Lastly, the InBody. InBody is a tool we use in our clinic. We use to measure the muscle mass, and so bioelectrical impedance analysis tool. But you don't have to understand the exact mechanism of like how they measure it. But long story short, the accuracy is pretty much reliable. When you fast for 9 hours and then avoid water 90 minutes before the test to maximize the accuracy of the test, the studies say like a 95 and 98% accuracy compared to the DEXA scan. So you can avoid the radiation exposure, high cost, and you don't have to schedule the appointment, blah, blah, everything. But still, you can achieve 95 to 98% accuracy compared to the DEXA scan. So it's not bad, especially when you have to measure it every 4 weeks. And it measures many things, but number one, it measures your muscle mass and also a body fat mass. And combined together, it tells you body fat percentage. For male, body fat percentage greater than 20% is when we start to, is the number we start to see, the metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, and high cholesterol. For women, 28% or greater is when we worry about the metabolic syndrome. So we use the InBody machine every 4 weeks in our clinic to understand, make sure that when someone loses weight, they're not just getting slimmer, they're also getting healthier. If someone's body fat percentage actually gets worse, which happens very often, you can always have higher body fat percentage after losing all the weight, because you can lose more muscle than fat. And if something like that happen, then we adjust the medication dose, and also interval, and like the dose adjustment. Instead of just going up the dose every 4 weeks, we kind of slow down, so to allow more time for them to compensate the muscle loss. And one other common scenario is, we one day see, oh, you're losing muscle and you need a more protein, and we up the dose as well. And next time I meet them, they tell me I couldn't really hit the protein goal because of more appetite suppression from higher dose of Wegovy or Zepbound. So because it happens so many times now, I kind of know. So when I feel the need for more protein, then I just slow down. I stay at the same dose instead of like upping the dose, and then emphasize on the protein intake. Uh, and our office is here in the Framingham. Anybody who's watching this video, if you are like located close to our office, then you can always show up. Our in-body machine is open to the public, so you don't have to be my peer. You don't have to establish care with our like us or our team. Anybody can come in, and you can bring your friends. And we kept it like a free and open to the public, because we want our patient to bring their friends, and like their colleague, their family, and we want our patients friends and environment to be more like, more they're like a health oriented, and I want them to talk about health, and be kind of like something like a supporting group to them. So we are open to anybody, so please feel free to come. We are open Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. Yeah, so this is it. And thank you so much for watching. Do you guys have any question? I will wait for about like 30 seconds. And if nobody has a question, then I will stop the live. Thank you so much for watching. Maybe one day.